Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Black Dragon Tavern. I'm your host, Dante,
I'm your host, Deacon.
and I've got to turn my phone down. Had the volume cranked up there a little bit. Anyway, thanks for tuning in tonight. We're glad you can make it. Hopefully, you were here last night to watch the episode.
Yeah,
We had guests Randy Price and Jeff
Jeff
Searcy
Searcy.
on, the owners of Two Kings Games, and it was a pretty fun
It
segment.
was, yeah.
Lots of laughs, lots of good stories. They were here promoting their new Kickstarter, which will be coming out October 27th, and that's for their new fantasy RPG adventure,
Age of Ancients,
Age
like
of that's
rats.
right, Age of Ancients like rats, and it's the first in a multi-part series of adventure modules. So check that out. Put that on your calendars for October 27th on Kickstarter. And you can find all the links. I've already put the links up on the Discord server. You can find the link to our Discord server here on our Twitch channel under the About page. You can also find the link to our YouTube channel as well, where we upload our VODs to. So you can either watch the VODs here on Twitch or over on YouTube. And what else, Deacon? We're on Instagram.
Yep, we are on Instagram at Black Dragon Tavern Online, isn't it?
Yep,
And we are on Twitter at Tavern_Black.
that's right. So check us out, give us a follow, and yeah.
Instagram, let's talk about that real quick. We're doing a
Yeah,
workbench stream tonight. I've got my work, I wouldn't say it's clean, but I've got it cleared off, so there's not a huge mess there. So I may take some pics of what I'm working on tonight because I've got
finally.
yeah,
We've only been talking about that for like a month
yeah.
now.
I've got some pretty cool stuff lined up,
That's
but
cool.
I'll talk about that maybe a bit later when we're closer to the workbench. So
Sounds like a deal. I'm super excited about that. I've got
me
my
too.
cabos just about ready to start putting the finishing touches on. So it's been a long time in coming, but again, I sound like a scratched record here or a scratched CD or whatever, like a MP3 on skip, whatever your technology is, on loop. Yeah, on buffer, YouTube on buffer, or not
Maybe
really,
on
but
buffer.
anyway, I'm repeating the same thing because like it's I don't really paint a whole lot between streaming sessions, so it just takes me a little longer. And usually, if I get into like the mood to paint, like things go a lot faster. So anyway,
Although after I can't remember when it was, but after one of the last streams that we did, you did paint for quite a bit after the stream ended. I remember
that's
that. Yeah.
true. I was feeling pretty good. It was a weekend, and I think I stayed up late, like 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
For me, that's late anyway, because I usually get up like 9, 10 the next
That's like
day.
middle of the day.
Yeah. So yeah, I know you did. But yeah, I did. And I did a lot of like washing and a lot of like last minute prepping before I get to doing like dry brushing and then like detailing and highlights and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
How are you
started
gonna
doing the eyes and all the little.
how are you gonna highlight them? Are you gonna dry brush the skin? Are you gonna like pick out the muscles with a lighter green, or how are you gonna do that?
I don't know. I'm looking at them and they definitely need some highlights. So I kind of want to dry brush because it's quick and they're small surfaces and I can do it pretty quick. But like I was thinking of like maybe going light, almost like wet palette style,
Yeah.
like lighter shades, lighter
You,
values.
you know what I would actually recommend? I would not dry brush those because they're small. And unless you have like a really small dry brush that'll work for that, you're going to be like spilling over onto the stuff that you've already painted and washed.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like, this is my green tinged chainmail or whatever, you
Well,
know?
it's funny you say that because I was just going to say, in fact, I do have a small dry brush. I've got, and we can talk about this later on the workbench because this is really kind of workbench stuff. But since we're talking about it now, I might as well just roll with it. But I got that fantastic set of fabric dye brushes years ago, and they're really stiff bristles. They're not like they're synthetic. They're not hog bristles, and they're short and they're very stiff. So they're very blunt. Some of them are round tip, some of them are blunt, and I use those for dry brushing because they're virtually indestructible. I've had them, like I said, for going on easily 20 years now, well before you were born. So
Isn't that one of the ones that you used on that like metal cage that you were dry brushing all rusty and then you like hit it with the brush cleaner? It like didn't it ruin the brush and then you just washed it off and it was back to normal or something
yeah,
like that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They're amazing. Like, and I tried finding them. I can't remember the brand, but I'll talk about it when it's once we're over at the workbench. I'll pull it up and I'll
Probably like a few
read that
thousand
out.
dollars each on eBay now.
Yeah, you
Rare
can't find them. They
specialty.
don't make them anymore. I think I looked up the manufacturer at one point to see if they were available at any of the craft stores or anything. But anyway, before we get too deep into that, I just wanted to give a couple shout outs. Especially to Paraj for being such a good sport last
Yeah.
night. Paraj, we really appreciate it. I know you're probably not on tonight, and that's cool. You deserve a break after after us
Yeah.
giving you a little bit of a rough time last night. But I hope it was all in good jest, and it sounds like you had fun. So we really appreciate that. And he will do your kids' birthday parties if you. No, I'm just kidding. That's what the whole thing was about last night.
Although
Dressing up as a pirate.
he probably would come out to your D&D games to act for those if you paid him enough.
Yeah, it seems like that. Give him some food.
Yeah.
Give him a place to sit at and play an NPC.
Yeah.
And then a buddy of ours, Tim, was also on last night. And he unfortunately could not get into the chat. He was on like an iPad. We won't get into the details of the tech and all that, but he shot us a message today and said he appreciated it, and it was a good segment. So thanks, Tim, for stopping in. And anybody else? Like I think your mom popped in last night too, like anonymously, because I thought I saw her at one point show up.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
Of
so
course.
this
Shout
was
out.
in our yeah.
I was gonna say shout out again to Randy and Jeff
Yep.
because they really kicked it with the first segment.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This was a new feature. This was the second week we've done this. A new feature we call the Drunk Tank, where we have a new overlay in Fireside chat. So when we have remote guests on, we can bring their video in. I mean, it's not new technology. Like, we know we're late to the game. We just started streaming in July, but for us, it's very exciting because we do this in our game room. We live stream from our game room, and so really. We hadn't talked much about the idea of having guests on until like I got a bug up my ass and I was like, let's do this. We got to do this.
Yeah.
You
and
know.
the thing that makes it hard is like right now we're in the middle of this quarantine and we can't have guests here in person, which would
Except
be,
Griffin.
Well, except Griffin, yeah.
Mhm.
But he's over enough that
Yeah.
doesn't make a difference at that point.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we can't just like bring people on the show for like just one-off guest appearances that much. So
Right.
it really does make it a bit harder to do that.
Yeah.
But that would be fun once we can do that. So
Yeah, we'll have to figure out a new configuration, like get somebody in here by the fireplace or set up another camera
Yeah, we can
somewhere,
move.
or
I can move over
yeah,
this
yeah,
way.
we can squeeze
move
somebody
the
in
camera
here.
back, get a wire angle.
Yep. Kind of face them a little bit differently towards each other and grab some beers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, you're not old enough yet, but you could have a coffee mug with, I got rum up in the. Wait a minute, sorry. Like, if the Wisconsin authorities are actually technically,
If the Wisconsin authorities ask, I'm 18
You
and
can
you're
drink.
giving
That's
me
right.
parental permission,
Yeah.
so
yep, you just can't buy it in the stores
No.
or in the bars, so it's all good.
if
Anyway.
Twitch asks, on the other hand, I am a 21-year-old adult person.
Well,
So
yeah, but anyway, so that was a lot of fun. So our hope is to get some more guests lined up. I've got some people in the pipe that I'm working with right now, and I'm pretty excited about a couple of the guests. Like there's one I'm shooting for that's really big, and I can't say anything about who it is or what they do or anything at the moment because they have no clue that I want to
Yeah.
invite them. But
so Jeff Bezos, when you get the invitation, feel free to message us back as soon as you see it.
yeah. Okay, moving on to the next.
Well, I mean, he's the owner of Twitch. You got to interview the head man himself.
He is the owner of Twitch, but like somehow I get the feeling like we wouldn't be gaining any friends by having him on here.
No, but
like,
we might be getting a lot of money.
We might be getting maybe, and we also might get our stream blown up from like
Yeah.
people bombing it. Like, anyway. Oh, that'd
We
be
just
hilarious.
don't tell anybody about it
Yeah,
ahead of time.
exactly.
We do no
Um,
advertising for
yeah.
it. Make sure people don't know.
Yeah. Although I did have a dream though that like we started doing some different things and we blew up like overnight. Like when I say overnight, I should say it was a couple months before we got traction, and then all of a sudden it was like the word got out and people
so
started
that's
tuning
like
in.
60 to 90 nights of overnight.
A couple months.
Yeah.
60 to 90 nights in a couple months.
Yeah,
No,
'cause-
there's 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's say
30
roughly like
let's say
8
rough-
streams in a month, like the 4
Oh,
weekends
I was
in a
thinking
month.
of.
A couple months,
Yeah.
so 8 times 2, 16.
I was thinking of just days.
Math's not his strong point
well,
right now.
No, I was thinking of days, like days in a month. 30 days
Oh.
in a month. 60 in 2 months, roughly.
Oh, now if you're talking about streaming every day,
No.
like
Well, you said overnight, and my brain went to, okay, well, there's like 30 nights in a month, roughly. So then, like 60 to 90,
Oh,
if it's
okay.
a couple months, you know.
Yeah, you were like far stretching it. But
Yeah.
overnight in the sense of like
So if
when people
you,
say they're an overnight sensation, really
yeah,
that doesn't happen. What that means is like they were working at it for months or years or however long, and like all of a sudden out of nowhere they became a
yeah.
sensation. But
So if
really the
you,
person doing it was probably like overnight my ass. I've been out here streaming
well, shit. Some
for us it's only
people
been a couple
now,
months.
some people it is close to like overnight type of thing, and it's not just one night, but it'll be
Yeah,
like a few days, and then all of a sudden their thing blows up or whatever,
I
you know.
that I'd be curious about that, like if that really happens like in a few days. And I'm not throwing shade on anybody. I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
If you can become famous like that, if you got a thing and people like it and you're giving good quality content and you're making people laugh, that's good. I support that kind of thing. I watch all kinds of crazy shit on Twitch. I watch all kinds of streams and some make me laugh and some turn me off. I just don't go back. But the ones that I do, I usually follow. Or like I hang around and lurk and get the tone, get the feel of what the chat's like and what they're talking
Yeah.
about, before I'll hit that follow button. And really, for me, it's about the person streaming. Like, do they have a good personality? Can they carry the content? Are they negative? Are they just like, you know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's things that just catch your eye and catch your attention. So, but anyway, yeah. So, Paraj, thanks again. Tim, thanks again. Everybody who tuned in last night. We had a whole bunch of people watching, and it'd be nice just to get those folks into the chat, get them going there a little bit, and yeah, that'd be super cool. So Deacon, here be
Yes.
dragons. That's what I
There
called this
are there be a
episode
lot of dragons.
because I found a whole lot of stuff this week, like getting ready for this one, which this
feels
would have
like
been.
it's been it feels like it's been so long since we've just done a stream with like just show notes and no guests on here because we skipped last Saturday,
Yeah,
and yes,
So-
that Friday we had Kevin on.
yep,
Yesterday we had
and that
Randy
was
and Jeff.
and that was Kevin Watson,
Yep.
the head Naga at Dark Naga Adventures, and again, you can check that VOD out on the Twitch page.
Yep.
Check him out on Facebook, Dark Naga Adventures. Super cool guy, good personal friend of ours, and started off as like a big customer of ours for our business, our online business, geekfoundry.net. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's been like 3 weeks.
It just
Well, so Friday,
yes.
okay, last week was Kevin,
2
and then the
weeks.
week before, okay, yeah, this is technically, yeah, okay, you're right. Yep, if we're counting that way,
So
yeah.
hey,
Who just dropped
Jason,
in?
how's
Hey.
it going?
There's our GM.
Yeah.
What's going on? Like we're feeling like the pressure because now we got to get a game. We got to get
yeah.
like
What are
like
we?
we're not doing anything tomorrow as far as I know.
Are we doing anything tomorrow?
I
What are
don't
we
think
doing
so.
tomorrow?
Tomorrow evening, it's Sunday.
Yes, I know it's Sunday because we're streaming tonight. But I'm saying,
So I mean,
what
Jason,
are we doing tomorrow
we're
besides dinner?
I don't think we're doing anything
I
as
don't
far
think
as
we're
I
doing
know.
it. Jason, what are
So
you doing?
yeah, Jason, what are you doing tomorrow night?
What's
We're
brother doing?
we are yeah. What's Kaz up to? Like we could play tomorrow night, and then maybe this week one night. I don't know what your week looks like, but this is the one week that I think I'm going to be pretty freed
I
up.
mean, like besides Friday, I'm free.
Yeah, last week was a major suck because I had so much good stuff
Yeah.
going on. But he says, good, I'm doing some 3D printing.
it's
Nope, it's alternate Sundays. All right, well, either way, we'll clear our calendar
Yeah.
for it.
What are you printing? Anything cool? Ask him.
Oh, cool. Yep. And I found those, well, I probably shouldn't say this like live over stream. I'm not condoning pirating STLs.
Well, it's
I found some
a-
interesting files that I purchased I would like to print, and I'm happy to send them your
I
way.
mean, it's not really piracy then if they designed it and they sculpted it and all that, and you paid the whatever the rightful price for their product is, which you are.
That's
then
true.
printing.
I don't have a resin printer either, so I can't print them on that. But I can get somebody to print them for me. Like,
And that's not piracy
Yeah.
either because they still got
So-
the money.
but it's some cool stuff too. It's like an Egyptian set, an
Ooh.
Egyptian fantasy set, and I was just salivating. Iron Fighters from Cults 3D. Cool.
I love Cults 3D so much.
Yeah,
I
they've got some
remember-
good stuff there.
I remember we were talking about 3D printing stuff a while back, and you were saying that you actually didn't like Cults 3D that much.
I didn't when I was looking for it because I had a hard time navigating, and for some reason, the site seemed really laggy. Like when you put search terms
It
in,
was really laggy
and
because they were running on old servers, so
right,
that they
and then
wouldn't
they
get taken down.
yeah, and I think they upgraded it because like the last time I went out
Space
there,
Mace 39,000. Yeah.
Space Mace.
What was the one from yesterday?
We were
War Mallet?
yeah, I said
War
it was
Mallet
like
41,000 or something?
it was like Battle Mallet tens of thousands or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, so we were talking our guests that were on last night, we were talking about stuff like that, like creating things that are similar in nature to other products, and I said, yeah, that would be like all the people making things for Universal. I think that's what it was. It was like Universal Battle Mallet
Yeah.
tens of thousands or something. It
Yep.
was silly. Yeah, I'm butchering it now, but you had to be there. It's just in the moment kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyway, so
Cults 3D. I want to talk about that for a second. I love Cults 3D. I can't print anything off there because we don't have a resin printer, but there's some cool shit on there. Like they have the Ultra Warriors, they have the Valor Corps. I'm not even making this up. They have like
I know you're not making it up.
they
That's
have the
what's cracking
Space
me up.
Templars. They have
The
like
Space Templars. Okay.
the I saw one on there that was like Chivalrous Knight of the Imperium or something like that, and it was just an Imperial Knight, whole thing, it was done into parts so you could assemble it. This one guy uploaded a oh god, I'm not gonna be able to remember the name, but he uploaded a like large Imperial Warwalker, and it was the STLs for resin printing an entire full-scale Titan.
Oh, jeez. I wonder how many parts that was in.
It was about 110, I think.
110
110.
files
Yes.
for 110 parts.
I mean, it's like
I mean, you could probably, I don't know how resin printers work, like Jason could tell us, but with the FDM,
some
with
of them
mine,
were like small, so you could do them in the same bed.
well, that's what I was
but
going to say.
other
Like
parts
on
were,
mine,
like-
you can line up multiple parts, like in the software that you're using for that Kira.
No, not a Warhound, an Imperator Titan. Or is that what they're called? I can never keep up with the names. Imperator
The 3
or
foot?
It's the full one that's like
Yeah.
what, 2-3 feet
Yeah,
tall. It's a Warlord class Titan. That's it.
Warlord class. Yeah.
Yep. The
Yeah.
big one.
Or maybe that's what he was joking and calling it Warhound class.
Well, Warhound is an actual class of Titan that Forge
oh,
sells.
okay. I didn't know that.
They're
That's
smaller.
because
They're
I'm,
like
that's not my
bigger than a knight, but
I'm not
yeah.
super into that like you are. Like
I
at
think
night when I walk by your room, I hear you. Imperial.
The Walking
this-
Church. Yep, the Walking Church. I think I have the files on my computer
Oh my
somewhere,
God.
so
That's
I did.
insane.
It was up for like 3 days before it got taken down. So
Well, I wonder, like, between like FDM or resin, I wonder like how many spools of filament you'd have to go through,
oh
or
my
how
god,
many
this dude said it
how
was
many like I don't know. Jason, what does the resin come in? Is it like a quart? Is it a half a gallon? Like, we're talking 50-gallon barrels,
No,
like,
not that much. But this guy
Breaking
was
Bad
saying
style, like.
he easily went through a couple gallons of resin on that print.
Well, that's what I mean. Like they probably come in quart sizes, or,
So
or
I guess,
half a
like-
gallon, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, but maybe a gallon is equivalent to like a spool of.
I'm looking up here on the shelf, but I don't have any anymore. I used to have all my resin casting stuff up there, including the catalyst, the
sent in
resin.
kilograms.
Uh,
That's disgusting. I don't even know what that is. That
Yeah,
it needs
I can't
to be
do that.
measured in like freedom juice per.
Freedom juice.
Yeah, whatever
Freedom
whatever
juice.
whatever
Oh my
our
God.
measurement system is.
Freedom,
so.
yeah, America freedom juice. Oh my god.
So-
what the fuck? Freedom juice.
I don't know.
All
It's
right,
just
that's
the
pretty
first
funny,
thing
man.
that came to mind.
That's rich. That's
Pretty
that's
sure
awesome.
that's just like Coca-Cola.
Yeah. I don't know. Like all the stuff that I got was Imperial, so it came in like ounces and all
Yeah,
that. Like,
it came in like.
it also
tactical
came with
squads,
the
Devastator squads,
MDSS Material Data Safety Sheets, or Material Safety Data Sheets, MSD. I can't remember. There's a scientific. It's a standard across like
Yeah.
chemistry.
Oh yeah,
And I
it's
should
like,
know that I'm working for a
Yeah, Dad,
bioscience
how do you not
company.
know that?
Well, I mean, because
Yeah, the bottle
my
is-
department. What's that? He says
bottle
they
is
sell
like
in
a
kilograms. Okay, yeah.
So
That sounds about right.
yeah,
That's
so
what I remember.
out of a quart, how many things can you get? Like, how many iron fighters can you
How
get
many are
out of a
fighters?
quart? Is it like a
MSDS, yeah,
MSDS?
material safety data sheet.
Yes.
And I got a binder
Actually,
around here.
I
I'm pointing
we
around the room. I think it's behind us in the bookshelf. I actually have a binder that I collated that had all the MSDSs for the resins that I used to use, and for it was super
we
awesome. I put it
had one
together
of
because, like I
those
told your
in
mom, when I used to cast out in the backyard in the shed, which I think is what Jason's doing in the garage. You know, I said I had a respirator. I had the full OSHA certified respirator for vapor for I think it was for organic vapors, or non-organic. I can't remember. But I told your mom, I go, I'm going to be out here casting. Here's the book, and like if anything happens, call
yeah.
this 800 number, poison control. And here's what I'm working with. If you find me passed out.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm sure that didn't worry her at
no,
all.
like it was noxious, man. It was
Yeah,
noxious, and it would take a couple days to cure. This is old school, like 2-part mold
recasting,
pouring.
yeah. Silicon
I
mold
don't,
to
I don't know
get
what you're
the...
talking about recasting. I always made my
No, no,
original
like
stuff.
you make your own thing, and then you make a cast of your thing. Yeah. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the MSDS. We had one of those in class for art medals, because they had just about every chemical you could think of in there. Even crazy shit. Like, they had, like, acid and shit.
Yeah.
Like, not the,
For etching and stuff like that.
Yeah. But they
Yeah.
had, like, stuff to,
Not the light.
you
Yeah.
dunk it in there, and it, like, deoxidizes it. You can use it for polishing or for buffing or, like, all of that stuff. They had, like, lightly smelly.
Put some. Hey Jason,
Put some
if
Pine
you're
Sol in
put
there.
some pictures in the Discord server. I don't know if you're part of that or not, but we could. If you're not, we can send you an invite to that, and then you could put that. You could like send some pictures of the stuff you're printing.
Yeah, acid etching.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, you don't like melt the metal, but
No.
you submerge it in there for a few seconds so that it loosens effectively the top layer of the metal, and then you can take... I can't remember the name of the tool that you'd use. It's not a saw, and it's not like a pin. I'm thinking, I can't say any spoilers, but I'm thinking of something that happens in the show that you guys just started watching tonight, and it's not like that.
No spoilers.
But you take, you effectively melt the top layer of the metal in acid, in like in a light acid. It's not something that you'd like stick somebody in a barrel in, but you melt the top of the metal.
It's not Walter White stuff.
Yeah, it's not Walter White stuff. I got a story about that to tell you in a minute. And then you take a tool, almost like a chisel, and you can just draw on the top of it. And because it's been loosened by the acid, you can engrave it really easily. And it's a lot easier than using like a CNC tool or anything like that to carve or engrave things.
So like the crazy people, like, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that term. Like, I might offend somebody. Mental health issues are nothing to joke about, but the braver people, or the people who were more risk averse in art college, Deacon, they would coat their metal in a non-reactive substance, like a almost like a petroleum thing that they would coat it with, and so the acid wouldn't react with it. But they would find a way to paint acid into the thing, so they could like almost like brush the acid on there, and then take that top layer of the, then you then they polish it, and you wind up with the shiny bits, and the dull in the background look like it's burned in.
I haven't seen that before, but I've seen like carving with acid to loosen it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you had to really be careful with that. And I never really got into metalworking all that much, but it looked kind of fun. It looked, I mean, the only metalworking I ever did was in metal shop or
metal minis.
Well, there's that, but 6th grade, 7th and 8th grade, middle school,
we didn't
when we had those kind of shops, wood shop and metal shop and all that.
We didn't get that.
In fact, like, I got a scar somewhere in one of these fingers where I cut the hell out of myself with a pair of tin snips, like right there.
Yep. Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yep.
Wow,
it's been there since 6th grade. I don't know how I did it, but
I thought it was a cool class, but I don't really like it overall because it's very annoying. We had to wear the goggles that have like the seal around them and respirators the whole class, because I mean don't really want a whole bunch of like 11th or 10th or you don't want a whole bunch of like 9th through 12th graders just inhaling like bits of like metal dust
Yeah,
into their
absolutely.
lungs. So it
Aluminum
was
shavings and all
copper,
kinds of
brass.
yeah.
They had actual
Yeah.
silver and gold there that you could use for the
That's
class.
cool.
You had to pay an extra fee for it,
Yeah.
obviously, but like they had for our jewelry one, I didn't actually do anything in the jewelry unit because that was when we were out. That was actually when I was out for like a week or two post heart attack, helping you out around the house.
Oop.
So I missed that entire unit in art metals. But yeah, they did jewelry and they did rings. And for rings, you if you paid an extra like 50 or $75, you could use sterling silver for your ring.
Nice.
So
It would have been nice if you would have been able to do that. And I'm sorry, I
yeah,
had to go
I
have a heart
mean,
attack on you all. But
it's kind of a hard thing to like time and control. I'm
yeah,
not gonna say like, hold on. Can you go to the hospital later? I have class right now.
exactly right. Yeah.
So
Dad, do you have to have a heart attack right now? We're supposed to be making a ring. God damn it. But like, so one of the things I asked about in when I was going to college for art was, okay, so we're working with metal, and we did metal castings, we did bronze casting statues. We did all the classic techniques for making the molds and the armatures and all that stuff, and lost wax, I think it was called.
real quick, Jason, I sent you an invite to the Discord server. So if you want to join that, I will
Be
get
sure
you all set up.
be sure to change his role too.
I know.
Yeah. And then that way you can post. So anyway, we did bronze castings to make sculptures, and I had at one point
Should be all good there, Jason.
a little bronze statue that I made. And I don't know, it got lost somewhere over the years, or it gets thrown out because I wasn't super happy with it. I kept some of my stuff, but hold on, you jumped in there. So the one thing I asked about, and you'll be interested in this, was can we do lead castings in here? And they were like, nope, because the lead vapors and the liability. And that was one of the things growing up. Like a lot of people got sick from that, and they didn't talk about it. A lot of home casters that were trying to do their own minis for D&D games.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, you gotta study this stuff. You gotta know what the risks are, and you gotta have the right equipment, and you gotta have it in the right environment, because you can't screw around with lead like that and just smelt it in your basement or your garage without proper ventilation, proper respirators, and you gotta draw that air out of there, and like there's just all kinds of nasty shit that can happen.
Yeah.
But this is why like I spend a lot of time talking with the sales folks, the technical sales folks at a lot of these resin companies. Told them I'm not a chemist, I'm a home hobbyist. I want to do this. This was recommended as a product. What are the safety concerns? What do I need to do to get a shop set up? And they were really good about that. And they'll talk to you. That's the funny thing is like,
I mean,
nowadays it's hard because, like with what Jason's doing with his 3D resin printer, you got to get on forums online a lot and learn about all that stuff. And if you're lucky, maybe the company that produces the resin will send you some information on it or have a support line.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
I cannot. Where did you post that?
Is it in the general chat in Discord? To pull that up. Let's see.
Oh, no, that is just a channel. We can't actually see that. So it'll have to be in the general chat of the Black Dragon Tavern server. I think the Me6 one is just a direct message.
Yeah, that's the bot.
It's kind of like a private message on like Messenger or whatever. So we wouldn't be able to see that.
Yeah, look for the channel list. Look for the Dragon Head, and then there's a channel list there, and there should be one called General Chat.
Anyways, what I was gonna say was I didn't actually bring it home from class, but I had my bronze I can't remember what it was, whatever material we were working with, statue from Art Metals, and it was about this tall. It was pretty small, and it was beautiful. So you start with a rectangle of metal, and then if it's like this, I went like zzz, and I sawed off like one corner of it,
Okay.
and that's it.
And it was
I had to go like right after that.
postmodern architecture.
It's like postmodern brutalism, that whole thing. It's
Yeah.
right up in there,
Would have fit in with Crevassier,
Yeah.
except he worked in concrete.
So, well, no, that's like the little like ornament that goes in the lobby of his concrete buildings.
Yeah, there you
go. But no, I had to leave like right after that. So, yeah, no real progress other than the one corner that I'd like shaved off.
Well, I mean, you have you have the opportunity now to do that in school. So now that you're going back to school and you're taking liberal arts, you could take an art class like that.
For like an extra $150. Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of all of the other normal.
Yeah.
Like tuition.
But it's accredited. I mean, you get a credit for it, like right, towards graduation or your degree or whatever. So I'd happily pay the $150. That's cheap for a class like that. You just got to commit the time. Well,
that's also on top of like the $600 class fee.
Oh, well, that would come out of your scholarship.
Yeah.
So
fucking get that fixed. So
yeah, well, not your fault. There's only so much you can do about it, But so anyway, yeah, Here Be Dragons. I found all this stuff that was going on this week. Yeah, we got so distracted.
I forgot about those.
We talked a little bit about this, so this is not a new one to you, but HBO just dropped their first teaser trailer for their new Game of Thrones spin-off, and it's called...
not letting you upload a photo in Discord. Hold on.
Oh, that's weird.
Let me get that checked out.
All right.
Should be able to.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm just going to talk about this. House of the Dragon. And this goes back 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones, so before Headless Ned. And it goes back to House Targaryen. And I'm pointing over here because astute observers of the Black Dragon Tavern live stream will recall that, like, when we do from the battle zone, we have the camera facing the dungeon wall over here, the stone wall, and on that wall are two pennants from House Targaryen.
Could you try uploading that again? I'm not sure why, but it's kind of weird. I don't know what's up with that. The permissions should be set so that you can upload photos, but anyways, yeah, House Targaryen.
Yeah, I don't know. You're the resident. So he created a subthread called 3D printing, and all I see is 3D printing. I don't see an image there, but it should be okay.
No, well, no, he said it's not letting him upload.
Well, maybe that's something we have set in the.
No, because I checked those.
Yeah, but I know general chat we had set up for that so that people could post stuff there.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to test that offline. All right. Either way, you could DM us that too, like in Discord, or you could DM that in Discord, or send us in Facebook Messenger. We'll be able to see that. I was just hoping we could see it here. So yeah, HBO Game of Thrones spin-off called House of Dragons, and again, it happens 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones. And the trailer, like, here's the interesting thing, Deacon. It looked like Game of Thrones, no surprise, okay?
Well,
big HBO production. It looked like it would have a lot of money put into it in a good fantasy setting. The pace, the tone, and the dialogue, meh. I watched it and I was like, meh. It sort of left me wanting more. I wasn't as excited about that as I was for season 2 of The Witcher. That trailer. That was pretty exciting to me. And I've seen a lot since. So, Anyway, so we'll put the link up to that.
Yeah.
Or just check it out online. HBO not Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. And I think that's coming out later this year, before the end of the year.
Yeah. So, quick thing, saw the link that you posted in Discord, looks awesome. We do have link sharing turned off on Twitch, though.
Yeah.
So, if you try to put a link in the Twitch chat, it'll just automatically censor it out. We do that just to cover our own butts because it can cause a whole lot of chaos because we don't want like random bots coming in here and spamming links and all that. So, no link sharing in Twitch for now.
Yeah, it's a safety thing really for to cover our butts because if people put links to NSFW or questionable websites here, we could get it slapped down by Twitch.
Yeah.
I thought I had put a button on the Stream Deck that drops the chat rules in and stuff like that, but maybe not. If it's not there, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Um, anyway, in other exciting Dragon news, and this is a couple weeks old now, D&D is going to be coming out with two new things in 2022 and in 2024. So in 2022, they're coming out with a new box set called the D&D Rules Expansion Gift Set. And it's really kind of not a rules expansion set because it includes Xanthar's Guide to Everything, Tasha's Guide to Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and a new book called Monsters of the Multiverse. And what they've done is, I would imagine, like it's gonna cost retail about $169.99 for the box set, and of course it'll come with classic foil covers for those people who want to collect that. It'll have a Dungeon Master screen in it as well, in a box, so all three volumes can fit in there. And I would imagine that they probably reworked it. They probably remastered those books. Because if they just stuck the original Xanthars and Tashas in there, that would kind of suck. Then you're paying like, way too much money for like a brand new book called Monsters of the Multiverse. And I don't, like I said, I don't know why they call it Rules Expansion
because
you're
getting it and you don't already have them. But in that case, it's still a lot of money for.
You can get Xanthars, I think, for like 25 to 30 bucks on Amazon. So let's say 25 each book. Let's round up. Let's say 30. That's 60 bucks. Okay, and then the other one and the Dungeon Master screen in the box is going to make up for the $170. That's a little much. Anyway, I don't want to go negative on that, but like, it's interesting. I might want to look at just the Monsters of the Multiverse and see what that's like. Maybe it's a good source guide. But the bigger exciting news, dragon-related news, is that D&D is going to be announcing, releasing a new project in 2024.
Yes.
And there's speculation as to whether it's going to be 5.5, like an edition update, or if it's going to be a full-on brand new addition to 6th edition. Now, 2024 also happens to coincide with their 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, not Wizards. So I'm I'm falling into the camp of people who believe like you got to go big on the 50th birthday.
Yeah.
That's a huge milestone. It's a half a century,
That is.
and that is just begging for a new edition. Why? Well, first of all, 5th edition is going on 10 years old now.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy to think that it is.
It is.
It feels
I know. Like just yesterday, like we got it, and we were talking to Peter
remember
Lee.
I remember, just like it was yesterday. Yeah, standing in line for like 3 fucking hours at Gen Con. I was tired. I was hungry. You didn't want me to leave the line and go get pretzels because then we'd lose our spot and have to wait even longer.
Yeah, because I was worried about you. You were a little guy. You were still young.
Yeah.
You were 11 years old.
Yeah, but
10 the first one I took you to, 11 the next year.
Yeah, you were worried about me, but you were also like more worried about losing our spot in that line.
That's
so you didn't
true.
let me get
We were waiting
anything.
for a long time.
All of that just to get,
and that's when it was D&D Beyond, the soft cover.
Yeah,
and that was in 13, and 14 was the
14 we got
hardcover 5th edition.
That's what we were standing in line for, the big one that I remember.
Yeah.
And I remember going through all that. You were like, "This is huge. This is awesome. This is insane." I remember going through all of that, and we got there, and I was like, "Fucking book." Dude, I'm like,
well, you were 11,
starving.
and I doubt you said it was fucking book. That happened when you were 12.
Yeah.
It's like, that's when the F-bomb started falling out of your mouth. Although, to be fair, like, the first word out of your mouth, the first word was not mama, was not dada, it was shit. And you were, oh, God, I will never forget that your mom and I will never forget that. Hilarious. That's our fault. But,
your fault.
So huge
Entirely.
news. 2024, be on the lookout for that. So I'm really hoping that it's a new edition.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. We don't run 5th here. We run the homebrew.
It's
but
like I get it. Yeah, it's like we don't run it, but there's gotta be shit in there that you can wrap into the homebrew.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's always something, as a great man once said, that you can yoink and twist. So.
You can yoink and twist. Yeah, exactly. Because Lord knows, like, some shit got yoinked and twisted out of my homebrew, which is what I'm gonna say. Like, no, because 2014 was the year that I remember sitting across from Peter Lee in the McDonald's while he was mowing down a Big Mac, and I almost made him choke on it and said, "Page 254. Let's talk about this. The starter kits." And he just goes. And then all he could say was, "Imitation is the best form of flattery," and that was it.
Hey,
that was enough. Right
you
there.
know what? I'm with him on that one. That is a pretty big form of flattery because you can go around now and you have the bragging rights to say, "My idea was," I wouldn't say stolen, but
5 of them.
well, yeah, that's even better. You have the bragging rights to just, you can go around and just say, "They took my ideas and my things and put them in D&D."
Yeah.
And you can say that. And that's like...
And I can back it up, too.
That's like the biggest fucking flex. You can...
Yeah.
You talking to some guy and he's like, "Well, you don't really know how D&D works. You have to run it this way. You have to run it by not preparing or whatever." And you can just say, "My shit's in D&D.
Yeah.
What do you have to show?" Nothing.
Yeah. Sadly, I don't have a credit, though. It would be nice, like, if even I could just get a mention. Shout out to,
Yeah.
Shout out to Dante. That's what they knew me as, like, my gaming handle. But shout out to Ephraim for, But, like, for me, it was super exciting. And it was more about, like, I'm glad somebody finally listened. I'm glad somebody said, "Hey, there's this fantastic idea of how to make this element of the game so much more enjoyable, so much more playable." And then they bought it. And there were, like I said, there were 5 different things in there that I had sticky notes flagged in the book. But again, I said, look, I said, me, I'm not gonna come after anybody. I'm not gonna get all litigious. I'm not gonna go, "I'm suing you. You took my shit."
Yeah.
I was just super happy to see that it made it in print.
You know what you can
and
do,
this is why, like, people had been asking me for years, "Why don't you publish Dante's game? Why don't you publish Dante's game?" And if anybody's watching this and they hear that title is copyrighted, by the way. I've got that. That's going on like 42 years old. I've been 42 years. I've been like working on this game and the game world around it. And so, but the truth is, like,
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and it's not that I'm lazy. I could assemble a crew.
Not only that, it's expensive as well.
Yeah, but it can be done. People are doing. Look at Randy and Jeff. They're doing Kickstarters. I mean, that's how you do it, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So, like, I could assemble a crew and get Kevin. Kevin said, "I'm there if you ever want to do your book." And I said, "Yeah, but the thing is, like, I've got so much stuff that I blatantly." And we run this at home. We're not selling it. So any IP attorneys that are out there listening to this, don't get your, don't, jizz your panties or anything. Like, it ain't gonna turn into a lawsuit. We selectively use mechanics from different rule sets. We take the best of the best and we play tested it, melded them together to create this really kind of a cool machine.
But you know what the thing is? I don't think they could sue you for that because you're not saying, "Oh, well, you're going to roll off of this table from Warhammer Fantasy 4th edition role-playing game or roll a D20 like in Dungeons and Dragons." It's your own system. So even if the rules are similar, you're not just, unless you like directly copy like word for word, those are your rules because they all go into one bigger system that isn't done by somebody else.
So here's how your uncle explained it to me. Your Uncle Matt. For the record, well, I don't know. We shouldn't be giving personal information, but anyway, here's how your uncle explained it. He is an IP attorney. He's a trademark attorney who also knows a whole hell of a lot about copyright and IP law. I mean, he's degreed in that. He taught overseas in Germany at an engineering school, technology.
He's great. I can bring him up anytime.
He owns his own law firm.
Yeah.
He's very successful. I won't name his clients, but
yeah,
he's not somebody to fuck with when it comes to talking IP. Like, I just shut up because...
Dude, yeah. No, he's great. I can bring him up anytime. Somebody's pissing me off at school. "Hey, my uncle's a lawyer. I'll sue you."
Okay. Yeah, no, he's not that kind of lawyer. But the point being, he asked me, he also asked me, "Why don't you publish your game? It sounds fantastic." And I said, Matt, I said, I've lifted so much stuff from other games. He goes, you can't copyright mechanics. Like roll a d6. You can't copyright. You all right? Did you get a nut?
Cheek.
Oh, you bit your cheek? All right.
No, it hurt like a motherfucker.
I bit my tongue the other day. So, anyway, he said you can't copyright a game mechanic. You can't trademark it. Like, roll a d6. Like, that's so generic. Like, even if it was like, how Fate has their dice system.
Fate dice.
Like, you can basically lift that system.
Yeah.
The thing that you can't replicate is the flavor text. So, like, if they give an example and they say
Jay's warrior rolls a d6
you can't lift that, and then you can't, like, the sword code.
Well, yeah, but then it's just plagiarism.
Right, Baldur's Gate, or that's plagiarism. That's copyright infringement. So you can't lift any of that stuff.
That's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier with, like, you can't copyright just like you can't copyright a table. You can copyright the flavor text and all that trademark.
Well, so that's where all the work revising this would come in, because I use Warhammer Fantasy role-playing crit tables. Yes. I use them verbatim. They're in my rule system, but
change words.
I could change. That's exactly right. I could change the words. The whole system is still the same. Like, people have been using hit location long before Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay came out. So we could use the same thing, but then, like, take the crit tables and change them. I just happen to think they're funnier than shit.
Yeah.
I think the way they're worded is just so blatantly over the top and disgusting and violent, and, like, I don't like violence particularly, but in a fantasy game kind of a thing where it's comedic, it's so over the top.
Yeah.
Your opponent's spleen gets my spleen, my spleen.
Yeah,
your spleen gets ruptured, exploding into a mist of pink frothy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, gross.
Hello, Microsoft Office Suite, Microsoft Word, certified specialist. Let me say that again into the microphone. I have a Microsoft Office Suite, Microsoft Word certification that I passed the test for well over the required minimum.
Well, that and the tech stuff is what got you your scholarship to college. So
that's true.
All that, not just that, but all the tech, your work in the tech field.
Yep. Start paying me. I will rewrite all that shit.
How about if I make you a partner and you work gratis until we publish it, and then we split the proceeds? Because I could pay you. I'll pay you. I'll name you a flat price. Would you rather get paid a flat price or take a percentage of the sales?
Wasn't that what, like, Mark Hamill did, and he got, like, fucked over in Star Wars, something like that?
Pass.
There was some dude I was just hearing about. I'm never gonna remember it, but he was in a big movie, like it was one of the Star Wars or, like, Pulp Fiction or something like that. Big movie, and he basically didn't have any trust in it, and he thought it was gonna suck, and he was convinced it was gonna suck, so he's like, pay me a flat fee, because when this bombs at the office, I'm gonna get more from this flat fee. And then the director actually ended up saying, we gave you a flat fee, we're gonna give you a cut from the movie as well, because we don't want you to get screwed over by this. And he ended up making like a few million more than he would have. Yeah. Just taking the flat cut. So I'll take both.
Yeah, because then the guy would have come after him and said, oh, yeah, you talked me out of it. Or, yeah. Well, yeah, people throughout history have done boneheaded moves like that all the time.
Yeah, so I'll take both.
So anyway, like we could talk about that offline. It would be kind of cool to see my own book in print. I have to admit, like, I did have a little bit of a nerdgasm when I printed it off and put it in a binder. And it was the first time I had actually seen my work printed. But more difficult than the rules system is the world. How the bloody hell do I put the world into? Like, where do I even begin? There's so much going on in that world, and it's so rich, and it's so deep, and it's so mature.
And this is why Warhammer is the way it is.
Yeah.
You have to have, with how much shit you write, you'll have to have a rule book and a world book.
Yeah.
And that's what they used to do, wasn't
it?
Yeah. Didn't you have like a little pamphlet or a little booklet with the rules, and then you had like a little
I think the term is gazetteer, a gazette, okay? Which is basically like the encyclopedia of a world. And the gazetteer would be a book that would talk about the world, the culture, the history, the politics, the religions, the ethnicities, the races, it's basically
Yeah,
everything.
it's the world
The
book.
the lores, the lore, the legend, the fables, the myths,
Yeah.
like everything that like you would need to know about that world to sit down and drop a party in the middle of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I don't want to turn this into like a me tooting my own horn episode, but like they did Dark Sun. Yes, exactly. And there was some good stuff done. Like you never played Dark Sun, but in the old days we used to play that. Not the old days. I mean, the
Back
earlier
in
days of our.
my day.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna turn into one of those. But like Dark Sun, and there was another one that's right on the tip of my brain, and I'm gonna keep talking and I'm gonna keep processing this in the meantime because I got to remember what it was called. It'll come to me in a minute. But so the rules system is one thing, and I've always been like, the rules are more like guidelines because I believe what Gary Gygax said a long time ago, and yes, he did say that for all you hardcore D&D folks. I'm looking at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Um, Go back to the original books, and he said it right in the intro of one of the books. And I'm not that hardcore of a nerd. I'm not going to be able to quote you a verse in Psalm and which book and which edition and what year it came out. That's not
Gary
important to me.
Gygax.
That's not important. You can get your rocks off on that kind of detail, and that's fine. More power to you. For
Gary
me, it's
Gygax, the Book of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, 19 whenever 1988.
no, it was earlier
Line,
than that,
whatever.
Right.
Thou shalt have fun or be smited.
or be smote. Um, but the point
Be
is,
smoted.
he pretty much alluded to, if he didn't say word for word, that the rules
Have
were
fun
like
or die.
guidelines. And well, not that's something different. Like, this is specifically about like
yeah,
if you don't
the
like the
rules.
rules, they're guidelines. Do what
Yeah.
is fun to you. So that's how I like to play in that spirit, and that's why Dante's game is always evolving. It's always changing, and even like our buddy Tom, who he's got to have it in writing in front of him.
Yeah.
He had a hard time adapting to it, and I said, just let go, Don't think about it. Just
So
play.
you see,
What do you think your character would do in this situation? Okay, let's look at your character sheet. What's the skill that handle? You don't have the skill.
all right.
Is it something that he would know from common sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You got a percentage.
Yeah.
Roll a percentage dice, right?
So you see,
And it keeps the game moving.
yeah, that RPGs are narratives. If it's about rules all the time, then play a war game.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was gonna say this is why, as much as I dislike them doing it, this is why I think GW was pretty smart with their whole codex thing, because they rolled the lore, like the core rule book, and then all of the codexes for the different factions. So that way you buy the rule book and you can get all the lore and all the main rules in there. But then if you want the rules for like this weird specific thing you're playing, not only do you get that, you get the lore for the specific thing you're playing, and you get like way more in-depth lore, and the rule book doesn't end up being that much more expensive. It's still a scam at like $60 a book, but
But isn't that like partially accurate in the sense of like, and again, this more than I do because you took to that like a duck in water. My recollection or understanding of the core rule book is obviously it's got the core rules. Most of it is lore because like then you said there's like only so many pages of rules right towards the end.
the
But wait,
rules
let me just
Easy.
Okay. So the lore kind of encompasses a broad spectrum of things. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't it just give a brief overview of each of the factions, like the Space Marines and the Xenos, and the this and then the other, the
So,
Tau, the wait. I want to see if I remember this. This is why I'm saying, hold on a second, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to dominate the conversation. And then the splat books, the codexes for each of the factions, like the Death Guard and the Tau and the Eldar, aren't those the ones that dive more into the specific lore about those?
Yeah, fucking bugs.
With the
everywhere.
specialty rules.
That's what I was saying.
Okay.
So the core rule book, the lore is the lore. It sure it has a few pages about each faction.
That's actually a line from Excalibur, but
So it's got, it's got a few lines, or a few lines. It's got a few pages about each faction, just enough to give you an overview to kind of entice you into buying into a faction. It doesn't
Yeah.
really say like everything about a faction, but it just says, here's a taster of this faction, here's a taster of every faction, find what you like, then go buy the book for that faction. And when you buy
Okay.
the
Yep.
book for that faction, it's like, well, the core rule book, going back to that, it's got a few pages about the different factions, and then the vast majority of the lore is about the galaxy. It's about the planets that are in it. It's
That's the one.
Yeah. The galaxy, the planets, the everything, everything that goes into that.
Make him a
So-
make him a VIP in Discord just for that. Seriously, like there aren't a whole lot of people that would be able to get that line
He's VIP.
because you said lore and I said lore and I said there was a line in Excalibur because they say
Law,
law.
yeah.
Yeah, the lore. The lore is the lore. Yep.
It's in British.
Yep. That's
Um,
awesome.
But yeah, the core
We're
rule
not
book is
worthy.
You've been made a VIP in the Discord. So, yeah, and then you buy the individual codex for like Tau. It's got. I don't think it even has 2 pages of Tau in the core rule book. It's like half a page and then some pictures for the Tau in the core rule book because they're one of the newer factions. So it's just like the Tau are. Next page is the Gene Stealers, So it's real quick for the Tau, but then you buy the Tau book and all of a sudden it's like thin book, only that big,
Yeah.
but it's got like 60 pages of lore for the Tau.
Right.
And it's like based on the core rulebook, I didn't think there was even going to be 6 pages of lore for these guys, but all of a sudden
Well-
it like blows it out of the water, and I feel like that's what you'd have to do with your book is like, here is the core rulebook. This will give you like the brief description, like this is the world,
Mhm.
these are the continents, here's a brief description of like what each one is like, and here's how those affect the rules or whatever, blah 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 blah. And then you buy a separate book like your world building book and you're like, here is the breakdown of each place.
Yeah.
Here's how the geography interacts with the economy there and the government and the
Yeah.
religion and the this
Yeah.
and that and this and that.
Yeah.
And
So I used to love, like when I was a kid, when I first started role playing, I used to love reading Palladium books because they were kind of broken down that way as well. They'd have a whole section on a continent and they'd talk about the monarchy, if it was a monarchy or if it was a theocracy or what it was, and they even like told you like population breakdown and like all this stuff about that, right? And the region and the climate and all that and what they traded in. And so that's how I set mine up, is like to include all those
Yeah.
demographics of
it
like,
makes it awesome.
you know.
It
And then
makes
that
it
way,
yeah.
that way like, okay, well this continent doesn't produce a lot of this natural resource, so they get it from here. That means you're going to be doing a lot of traveling or commerce with them,
And
What I was really tickled with last night about when Randy and Jeff were talking about Age of Ancients is the Pirate Council, and I immediately thought of
the
the Tradewind Isles, better known as the Pirate Isles.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was what I like about your world, your RPG, and all that is you can use, depending on what you're doing at any given time, you can use all of the lore and all of the world building, or like absolutely none of it, because it can go anywhere between like it makes it feel fleshed out, because you don't need like pages of lore if you're going into a cave to kill like 3 goblins. You don't need to know like how long ago the cave formed and like what type of rock it is. You don't need to know that. You need to know, hey, there's goblins in those caves, go kill them. But then when you do want to know the lore, like you do want to know the story behind a town, it's there.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is ask. And just having it there makes it feel like I could go like pretty much anywhere and I'm going to be able to get the story of the place,
That was
And-
my goal, and
Yeah, and shit, you could for the probably very few places that don't have a backstory in your world, you can just make one up on the spot.
well, yeah, and the reason it's easy to make up on the spot is because of the program that I wrote and I built, and I put all the databases into it, so it's got all the random generators.
Yeah, there's also
you
that,
know?
but like I meant like you've been running games for like centuries now, so you
Yeah,
could probably just
centuries.
you could probably just like pull something out of your head, you know? Just
Yeah.
oh shit, they're asking about something. Let me think of something. And you think about it,
Yeah.
and then you write it down.
Well,
And then that becomes. Well, hold on. What I really like is random shit. Like you'll take the weirdest, smallest, most random thing, like me stealing wooden trinkets from around a town that we've only been to once, and that party will never go back to, and then you'll take that, and then all of a sudden, because of that, now in the lore and the world building, this carpenter has gotten an increase in this, which means that he's been able to do this, and the story just builds itself from there, and all of a sudden, the next, like, 5 real life years later, there's a whole new group, people have never played this game before, they go to this town, and you've got, like, pages of story behind the town, all because of, like, some random thing that happened, like, 5 years ago. And
it's
that's
the
really
game
cool.
never stops up here, and people don't understand that the game never stops up here. I'm always growing the world. I'm always thinking of the consequences of everybody's actions, and this is why I keep saying I paint.
Never stop playing.
I'm an artist. I have a canvas in front of me, a blank canvas, and I put a few broad brushstrokes up there. I paint a world, and I say, "This is the world I've created for you. Go forth, populate it, have fun." And the things that you all do have consequences, good, bad, or neutral, you know, but I keep notes on that stuff, and that's exactly how it happens.
Yeah.
You know, and that's that little village that you visited that started as a one-off back at when you were a baby. You were still 3 years old. I ran that up at the original Misty Mountain Games. I ran that as a Halloween one-off for a couple of years, and then I ran it here at the home as well as one-offs for different, a lot of the same people, but usually there'd be 1 or 2 different people that would play it, and like they loved it. People went nuts. They were like, "This is one of the best games I played," and it really touches my heart. Really makes me feel good about that because I put a lot of thought into it. But it changed. Into your chest and goes like, but it changed. It changed. It's not the same village that it was. Like Gauntfield Cemetery, like from years ago, was right when the fallow happened. When the fallowing happened, like all the fields went fallow, and all the birds went away, except for the crows. You know, and like there was nothing but the original scarecrows in the fields that were going to rot because there was none of the farmers. They had all moved. Nobody was taking care of the fields. The town was dying, and the village was pretty much in jeopardy of going under. And then that's when the bad things started happening.
Yeah. And
they got worse. And then they grew the vivisectionist, and he grew in power over the years, you know, and then like.
But then we fucking whacked him.
Yeah, then you whacked him, you know. But like, all the little side stories, like you know, your character being a kleptomaniac and stealing the wooden carving trinkets, and you know, like stuff. Then people became curious because the reporter in the Daily Harvest was the name of the newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, because the reporter reported on that story, all of a sudden people took an interest into this otherwise unknown artisan, you know, who was carving these little wood fetishes.
So,
but it's that level of thought, and it takes a long time, you know.
Yeah, but the cool thing is, I think the mic is still picking me up pretty well. You've got this whole world here, multiple continents, and it's huge. And somebody can just come up and ask about this tiny little village right here, and you'll have a story behind it.
Which one did you point to?
This thing is breaking.
Was it on Andalusia?
Yes, it's right about here.
Read it. What is it? Can you see it?
No, it's not marked. It's
okay.
Vaguely where I remember Fallshire being.
So that one is most likely Segovia on that coast.
That would have been. You're in the wrong area, mate. That would have been between Palladius and Olduvai.
Olduvai?
Yeah, so it's right about here on the west coast.
Oh,
so like mid-west coast. Segovia is like northeast. Segovia is like the main of Andalusia.
Yeah, it's like San Marco or something. I've got it in my...
No, that's also on the wrong
side. I've got it on that... I'm backwards. I'm looking at it from here, and I'm thinking,
yeah. So no, that's like the Segovia is like the New England of Andalusia. Maine, Delaware, all that.
Yeah, and Palladius is like the ancient Rome Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
But
meant
yeah,
like
it's that's the
location-wise.
I mean that's the thing is like if I'm looking at my map and somebody points to it and I can see the name, I got it locked in my
Yeah.
head and I can tell you what the background is on that.
Yeah.
And if we have the good fortune of being able to get the group back together, you all are going to be on the east side of the continent
Oh
for
yeah.
your next
Yeah.
locations and stuff. I
Well,
can't tell you too
we're not
much.
even in Andalusia anymore. We have to come back from
Yeah.
Har
Yep.
and Ankara.
Yep.
But yeah. We should probably head out for our break because it is 9:10.
It is 9:10 already.
It's 9:10.
Wow.
Well, 9:09.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't.
Yeah.
I got through like 2 stories.
I don't think he even got. Oh, maybe he got through.
Yeah, I talked about HBO's House of the Dragon.
Well,
we talked about D&D's big drop, about the new
the good news is
box set in 2022 and the big rules edition
yeah. The
project
good news
in
is
2024.
next week on Friday you'll be able to call it like Black Dragon Tavern. Oh God, I got hiccups. What the hell? You'll be able to call it like Black Dragon Tavern episode 25. Here be more dragons. You know?
Yeah, here's some more dragons for you.
So
yeah, that's
with
fair
that-
enough. We can save that. We can keep the show
always good
notes
to have
for
stuff. Yeah.
next session, and I guess we'll move to the workbench then. Eh?
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're watching, thanks for tuning in. We're gonna take a little 15-minute break here, and we're gonna come back broadcasting from the workbench. Jason, hopefully you'll stick around. Nice to have you. Thanks for dropping in.
Yeah.
And we're gonna, yeah, I mean, not a whole lot else to say.
No.
We're gonna put the screen up now, take a break in 15 minutes, and come back from the workbench. We'll see you in a few.